Welcome again. It is now 2 March, day 7 of Putin's war on Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. They valiantly are holding out. Again, the Russians have changed their tactic. They're now trying to bomb and barrage the Ukrainian people into submission by attacking residential areas and non-military targets to break the will of the Ukrainian people. So we're going to continue going over the news. I've kind of got this together now. It took me a couple of days to try to get together exactly what I want, but now I've got it. So we'll get back into it right now. So this is Mariinsky Palace. Is an Elizabethan Baroque palace that serves the official ceremonial residence of the President of Ukraine. And the palace lies on the right bank of the Dnieper River in Kyiv, adjoining the neoclassical building of the Verkhovna Rada, the Parliament of Ukraine. Let's take a look here, see if we can get a Google map view of this building. This is where the president is hanging out, most likely in the basement here, in the bunker, while the Russian artillery is bombing it. All right, let's take a look here. So that's going to be it right there. We'll zoom in. Let's back up a little bit and see where we're at in Kyiv. So it's right in the heart of Kyiv. Right there. And as you can see on the map, Kyiv is not very far from Russia. I mean, it's just literally what we can do our measuring here. From the border with Russia, it's only 57 miles, so about an hour's drive, or maybe a little bit more than that. But not very far at all. The Russians have moved in along the river here, surrounded it. They've also surrounded Kharkiv, and they're trying to cut off these areas here. They've also moved out from Donetsk and Luhansk. They're trying to connect up with their forces in Odessa that are coming out here. The forces in Odessa are pushing, the forces in the Crimea are pushing towards Odessa, trying to cut off the ports of Ukraine and trying to make their way to Moldova. Meanwhile, the rest of Ukraine, all this vast area right here, completely untouched. Now the Belarusians and the Russians are trying to launch an offensive into here. They've got a 60 or 45 mile convoy that's completely stuck and lost and aimless, which is good. All right, back to the palace. I believe the Russians have taken the airport here at Bonishpil. It's not clear if they've completely surrounded Kyiv, because there are people that are getting in and out of Kyiv. So we'll see how much that affects. So the Russians are definitely on the north, the northwest, and the northeast and east of Kyiv. All right, so let's go in a little closer here. And there's the palace. Let's see if we can get street view. Yeah, there we go. There's street view. These are pictures in much better times. You can see it's really nice. Nice little palace there. And it's almost painted in the Ukrainian colors, yellow and blue. You see the Ukrainian flag flying there. Yeah. So when you see Zelensky, he's in the hallway and they're signing papers. This is it right here, right through this doorway. It's been sandbagged. There's guards everywhere now. There's a desk there. They come up. There's bunkers underneath here that the Russians have built back in the Soviet days. They come up from the bunkers up to the hallway here and sign the papers there. Now the Russians, they know all this. I'm not giving anything away here. But when you see Zelensky and he's taking pictures of him signing documents like into the membership in the EU, right through this doorway, that's where that's happening. Matter of fact, let's see. Can we go into there? Hold on a second. You see the national emblem right there. Hold on. We may be able to go into the building. Hold on one second. Yeah. This is inside the building here. This is where you see Zelensky when he signs those papers. Yeah. They're right down here. Actually, they're about right there, I believe. Oh, this must be with the Congress. Yeah, there's the Congress right there. The Congress of, it's called the, excuse my just butchering of the Ukrainian language, but it's Verkhovna Rada, which is the Ukrainian Congress. There's Ukrainian flag. There's Ukrainian flag with their emblem. This is up in the gallery for the people. So when you see these pictures of him, that's where he's at. This is really good. Are there any more? Let's try over here. Yeah, so this is real close by. So when you see him and that picture of him and the defense minister and the foreign minister, they're right outside here. I'm not sure why the Russians aren't bombing the hell out of it. Could be they're trying to preserve it so they can say they're liberating it, but I don't know. But this is outside. We'll come back more to that. So let's go. So what I'm going to be doing is going back and forth between the government, Twitter sites, Facebook sites, and the news sites. Okay, and we'll kind of get a perspective from the two. So we do kind of an inside and an outside view. This is President Zelensky's Twitter account. Let's see if he's posted anything recently. Yeah, see this number goes up every day by a couple 100,000. He's at 4.4 million followers. This one, I'm in constant contact with our trusted friends. This is over an hour ago. The EU president, we have discussed the current situation on the battlefield and diplomatic efforts, waiting for the positive signals about Ukraine's membership in the EU. So they applied to the EU. That's that piece of paper. You saw him signing that paper inside the lobby there of the Ukrainian parliament, and that's where he was doing that at. Had a phone conversation with the Israeli Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett, about Russian aggression. But unfortunately, I don't know why, Israel is just acting shameful. They are sending aid and aid workers, but hardly any military equipment, which is what Ukrainians need right now. I don't know what kind of hold the Russians may have on Israel right now. It seems like Russia would be our natural enemies. Ukraine would be our natural ally because, the Russians are supporting the Iranians. The Iranians are supporting Hamas. The Iranians are supporting Syria. The Iranians are supporting Hezbollah. So, the Russians are supporting Syria's Assad government. That's our natural enemy. So it doesn't make any sense that the Israeli government, it's almost shameful that the Israeli government is kissing up to Putin and the Russians. I don't understand it. Here's another one. 2 hours ago, thanked the Norwegian Prime Minister Jonah Garstor for his strong defense support to Ukraine in the fight against Russian aggression. Noted that the strong sanctions imposed by Norway reported on the course of Ukrainian defense and aggressors' crimes against civilians. We continue to work, including with the Secretary Council. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Norway is one of only, two NATO countries that border Russia. Okay? Actually, Norway borders Russia more directly than Poland, because Poland borders Belarus and Kaliningrad, a Russian enclave, but Norway is connected directly to Russia, and if any kind of action would happen, that's probably where you'd see it, in the Murmansk area between the border of Russia. Any kind of first NATO strike or Russian aggression would occur there. Let's see. Coordinated actions with the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson reported on the course of Ukrainian defense and latest crimes of Russia against the civilian population. We are grateful for Britain, UK continued significant assistance in combating aggression. Together with partners we defend. Now, really odd thing about Britain is that it seems to be a safe haven for Russian oligarchs. They've bought up, almost all the Russian oligarchs have property in London. This is why, the rental and the real estate prices in London are so extreme, because these multi-billionaire Russian oligarchs come in and buy up properties, which drive up artificially the prices for the average person in the UK. Let's see here. Oh, and also I believe that Abramovich owns Chelsea, the soccer team, and I believe he's handing over that to a charitable trust or something. Let's see, we'll go back about 12 hours, I guess. Continue dialogue with the, what is that? That must be the Netherlands. Prime Minister Mark Rutte informed how Ukraine repels the aggressor, proved the facts that Russian systematic crimes against civilian population, expressed gratitude for significant defense assistance. Together we oppose aggression. So it's great. I love the 21st century because now we have actual straight dialogue, straight from the sources itself, the Prime Minister of Ukraine itself. Can you imagine World War II with social media and fighting Hitler and Winston Churchill putting out tweets and social media posts? It would be a whole different war. This is really gives you great insight of what's going on there. Just had a conversation with Pontus 23 hours ago, so that maybe was right before the State of the Union. The American leadership on anti-Russian sanctions and defense assistance to Ukraine was discussed. We must stop the aggressor as soon as possible. Thank you for your support. So this is good because it looks like he took a break. Zelensky didn't post anything from 23 hours to 5 hours ago. So hopefully he got some needed rest, probably from the advice of his advisors, maybe got a shave, got to talk with his family. This is good because you need all your faculties. I know you're running on adrenaline, Zelensky, but you need all your faculties sharp. And so you can go 3-4 days without sleep, but after a while, it starts to affect your judgment. So yeah, he was probably told by his advisors to get some kind of sleep, take a bath, get a shave, eat some hot foods, things like that. Okay, so that gets us caught up there. We're going to jump over to ABC News and check out the latest and see what they have. Let's see. This doesn't look like it was updated. Wow. Let's take a look here.
The escalating battle in Ukraine. Fighting now breaking out in Ukraine's second largest city of Kyiv after Russian forces moved in. This following the ongoing bombardment
in the Ukrainian capital. ABC's Ian Pannell joins us now live from Kyiv.
Okay, so this is disturbing because ABC News has not posted a new video. Let's see, maybe... Okay, here we go. 43 minutes ago. Let's take a look here.
Let's bring in senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky in Ukraine, along with ABC's Elizabeth Schelsey in Washington for more on this. Elizabeth, Russia says that it's ready for new talks about a potential ceasefire, saying their negotiators will be waiting for the Ukrainian delegation this evening. But Ukraine still hasn't confirmed. So what's the latest there?
Well, Diana, as one senior U.S. official tells us, these peace talks really do appear to be a sideshow. The Kremlin says that it's prepared to send a delegation for negotiations as soon as tonight. Ukraine has not responded to that. The Kremlin has suggested those talks would take place on the belt.
Yeah, let me tell you how Russia wants to negotiate, okay? You surrender and we'll spare your life, maybe. That's Russian negotiation. Fuck that.
Belarus-Poland border, but they haven't specified a time or a place at this time. And Ukraine's foreign minister says that Russia is still issuing ultimatums, that this can't happen at the same time that it's pushing for negotiations on peace to happen. We also heard from President Zelensky, who said, look, we're willing to sit down and talk about peace, but not at the same time that these bombings are going on. And right now, it does not look like there's any sign of that letting up, Diane.
Absolutely.
Elizabeth, is there any sense of who has the leverage in these talks? On the one hand, Russia's economy is being decimated, and they seem more and more isolated as this goes on. But on the other hand, I mean, Russian troops are closing in on Kyiv right now, just on the outskirts of the city, according to the mayor. And they have a huge military presence in Ukraine right now.
Well, the big question here, Diane, on who has the leverage is how much President Putin really cares that his economy is being decimated. We are seeing, again, those massive moves lower in the ruble, the Russian currency. That is affecting real average Russian households. It's affecting Russian business. You know, the members of Putin's inner circle are being targeted as...
Okay, so let me tell you something, okay? These sanctions, yeah, they're devastating to Russia, but look at North Korea. North Korea's been under sanctions for 20 years, and still its leadership is not hurting. They're not starving. They're still driving around in Mercedes. They have gas, electricity, food, and weapons. Okay? So the only thing these sanctions are going to hurt are the poor in Russia. That's it. Russia has backdoors to China, other countries that it can work through as side parties. One way that one way that North Korea gets around the sanctions is they've set up third-party companies in China and other countries, and they just import all that they want into those countries for that company, and then just put it on ships and ship it to North Korea. So they get around all the sanctions. Okay, so if you want to see what a model of what sanctions would look like, look at North Korea. Okay? Matter of fact, Kim Jong-un's brother that he killed was basically the guy whose job was to get around all the sanctions, import cars, weapons, whatever they needed, technology. And so the sanctions don't really mean as much to the regime. What matters is military power and military strength. Okay? Anyway, we'll get back into the video here.
As well, but yet still it hasn't stopped him so far. So on that front, he's continuing to move forward, and officials are saying here in the U.S., Pentagon officials, the State Department, all signs point that President Putin continues to go forward with what could be a very bloody assault here that could go on for days, potentially weeks, as he continues to close in on the capital of Kyiv. On the other hand, we have seen this momentum from Ukrainian forces. President Biden, in his State of the Union speech last night, alluded to the fact that Ukrainian forces have have been more resistant than many expected, that President Putin underestimated them perhaps, and that they're going to continue to fight. Certainly that's the message that President Zelensky is continuing to repeat today, though the reality is they are still outnumbered there on the ground.
And Elizabeth, President Biden also announced in his State of the Union last night that the U.S. would close its airspace to Russian airlines, joining Canada and the EU in taking that step. So what kind of an impact could that have?
Well, Diane, this is another move to try to squeeze Russia's economy. The U.S. joining its allies in this move to basically limit Russia's commercial aircraft activity is a way to say we're going to try to put the pressure on. And as President Biden said last night, it further isolates Russia. He said President Putin has no idea what's coming here. It could also potentially limit the ability of Russia to get supplies that are in other countries that it would need to fly to get. But ultimately, this is a way to show that united front. The Transportation Department and the FAA have said they're going to release more details, but this ban will be going into effect quickly, of course, as the U.S. has followed the EU and Canada in these flights.
All right, Elizabeth Chelsea from D.C. for us. Thanks, Elizabeth.
All right, so that's ABC's take. Let's see. We'll go back to President Zelensky. This is his Instagram account he's been using to post. 13.9 million followers. It keeps jumping up every day. Let's see. We'll go listen to his latest video here. Hopefully someone has put a translation on here.
Я не випадково сказав єдина. Почався.
Today Ukrainians are a symbol of invincibility, a symbol that the people in any country can become the best people on earth at any moment. Glory to Ukraine.
7-й день цієї страшної війни. Війни, яку ми відчуваємо однаково. За цей час у нас єдності більше, ніж за 30 років. Спочатку нам було однаково страшно, потім однаково боляче, а зараз все однаково. Окрім перемоги, окрім правди, окрім миру, окрім спокою, до якого ми хочемо прийти. Окрім життів наших людей, за яких ми переживаємо. Окрім України. За це.
All right, so someone has put a translation.
Ми єдина.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn his voice down, and then I'm going to read you the translation. All right.
Бажаю здоров'я, єдина країна. Я не випадково сказав.
Wow, it's going really fast. Anyway, maybe you can read that yourself.
Однаково. За цей час у нас єдності більше, ніж за 30 років. Спочатку нам було однаково страшно, потім однаково боляче, а зараз все однаково. Окрім перемоги, окрім правди, окрім миру, окрім спокою, до якого ми хочемо прийти. Окрім життів наших людей, за яких ми переживаємо. Окрім України. За цей час ми по-справжньому стали єдиним цілим. Ми багато пробачили один одному. Ми полюбили один одного. Ми допомагаємо один одному. Ми боїмося один за одного. Вчора зранку на площі Свободи ми всі були харків'янами. Потім ворог зніс нас усіх ударами по житловим будинкам Бородянців. Вчора ввечері нас всіх бомбили в Києві. І ми всі знову загинули у Бабиному Яру від ракетного удару. Хоча весь світ обіцяє постійно, ніколи знову. Для будь-якої нормальної людини, яка знає нашу історію, світову історію, Бабин Яр – це особлива частина Києва, особлива частина Європи, місце молитви, місце пам'яті про 100 тисяч людей, яких вбили нацисти, місце старих київських кладовищ. Ким треба бути, щоб зробити таке місце мішенню для ракет? Ви вбиваєте вдруге жертв Голокосту. У часи радянської влади там на кістках побудували телецентр, а ще спортивний комплекс, господарські споруди, зробили там парк. щоб затерти справжню історію Бабиному Яру. Але за що його бомбили? Це вже за межею людяності. Такий ракетний удар свідчить, що для багатьох людей в Росії наш Київ абсолютно чужий. Вони нічого не знають про нашу столицю, про нашу історію. Але у них є наказ стерти нашу історію, стерти нашу країну, стерти нас усіх. В перший день війни жорстко бомбили Умань, куди, до речі, щороку приїжджають сотні тисяч євреїв помолитись. Потім Бабин Яр, де були розстріляно 100 тисяч євреїв. Звертаюсь зараз до всіх євреїв світу. Хіба ви не бачите, що відбувається? Тому дуже важливо, щоб саме зараз, саме ви, мільйони євреїв по всьому світу не мовчали, бо у мовчанні народжується нацизм. Тому кричіть про вбивства мирних людей. Кричіть про вбивства українців. Минулого вечора і цієї ночі вони продовжували бити по нашим містам. Бомби, ракети, артилерія. По мирним людям. Знову і знову. По житловим кварталам. Знову. Маріуполь, Харків, Київ, Житомир та інші міста і селища України. Це не може пояснюватися жодною людською причиною. Жодною Божою причиною. Що ж тоді далі, якщо вже Бабин Яр? Які ще військові об'єкти загрожують Російській Федерації? Які ще бази НАТО? Софіївський собор, Лавра, Андріївська церква, що б вони там не мріяли, чорт з ними. Бо з нами Бог. За цей час ми об'єднали Європу. Ми об'єднали країни Європейського Союзу вже на новому рівні, вищому, ніж формальний, вищому, ніж міждержавний, на рівні звичайних людей, мільйонів європейців, від Атлантики до передмістя Харкова, де продовжуються жорсткі бої. Коли Європарламент, стоячи вчора, аплодував нам, він аплодував кожному з нас, нашій боротьбі. Це було оцінкою наших з вами зусиль, нашого об'єднання за 6 днів війни, як 30 років. Тому Євросоюз і відповідає нам так. Ми розпочали спеціальну прискорену процедуру приєднання. Наші дипломати і наші друзі об'єднують світ заради України. І миру ще більше. Нейтральна Швейцарія підтримала санкції Євросоюзу проти російських олігархів, посадовців, проти самої держави та компаній. Ще раз, нейтральна Швейцарія. То чого тоді чекають деякі інші країни? До нашої антивоєнної коаліції приєдналися вже й ті країни, на яких Москва ще тиждень тому розраховувала. Це надзвичайний результат. Зараз не можна залишатись нейтральним. А який підсумок для Росії? Прапор цієї держави більше не побачить на спортивних турнірах. Сучасна світова культура буде для них тепер закритою. Російські товари прибирають з полиць магазинів по всьому світу. Російські банки відключають від глобальної системи. Російські громадяни втрачають заощадження, втрачають будь-які перспективи. Російські матері втрачають дітей в абсолютно чужій для них країні. Вдумайтесь у це число. Майже 6 тисяч загиблих росіян, російських військових за 6 днів війни. Це без підрахунку втрат ворога за минулу ніч. 6 тисяч. Щоб отримати що? Отримати Україну – це неможливо. Це не змінити ракетами, не змінити бомбами, танками, будь-якими ударами. Ми на своїй рідній землі. І за війну проти нас буде міжнародний трибунал для них. Українці, пройшла ще одна ніч повномасштабної війни Росії проти нас, проти людей, проти України. Тяжка ніч. Хтось провів цю ніч у метро, в укритті, хтось у підвалах, комусь пощастило більше. Поспали вдома. Іншим дали притулок друзі, комусь родичі. 7 ночей ми майже не спимо. Або спимо, але дуже тривожно. Рідні мої, настане час, коли ми всі зможемо виспатися. Але це буде після війни. Але точно після перемоги у мирі, який нам так потрібен, який ми завжди цінували і який ми ніколи не руйнували. Я прошу всіх вас берегти своїх близьких, берегти своїх побратимів. Я захоплююся кожним з вас. Увесь світ захоплюється вами. Від голлівудських зірок до політиків. Сьогодні ви, українці, символ незламності, символ того, що люди в будь-якій країні, будь-якої миті можуть стати найкращими людьми на землі. Слава Україні! Бажаю здоров'я, єдина країна. Я не випадково сказав єдина.
And there it is, folks. That's his latest. We're going to keep going and driving on here. Let's see what BBC has to say about what's going on. All right, let's take a look at this here. Hold on 1 second. All right, so I believe we saw this yesterday, but we'll watch it again here. This is Kyiv University. God knows why they're attacking Kyiv University. Only Putin knows what strategic value attacking Kyiv University would be. All right, now this is President Zelensky's Facebook account. I'm not sure who this is. The situation regarding the Russian invasion briefing, the advisor, the head of the office of the president, Oleksiy Areskovik.
Зосереджувати свої зусилля і угруповання для того, щоб розвивати наступ на Київ, але йому це не вдається завдяки системної і вправної роботі Збройних сил України. Вчора були нанесені авіаційні та артилерійські удари, які збили темпи операції російської. Зараз вони там відновлюють втрати і поки ні.
All right, now we're going to see what CNN has to say about what's going on in Ukraine. All right. Hold on 1 second. 3 minutes ago, Russian delegation has arrived in Belarus for second round of talks from Ukraine. With Ukraine, the Russian delegation has arrived in Belarus for a second round of talks with Ukraine, headed by the Russian delegation. Vladimir Vadinsky told Russia 24, adding that Ukrainian delegation has left Kyiv and is en route to Belarus for the talks. I would stop going to Belarus. You know, it doesn't make any sense. They're expecting to drive early in the morning. The Belarusian Special Services fully ensures the safety in Belarus. How can they ensure safety when the Belarusian army is attacking Ukraine? It doesn't make any sense. I would move the negotiations to Poland, but what's going to happen is the Russians are going to attack the delegation and kill a bunch of people, and then the Ukrainians are going to learn a painful lesson. Russian military has ensured a safe passage for their Ukrainian delegation movement through Ukraine, Medinsky said, and continued to thank Belarus for hosting the two delegates while Belarusian tanks roll into Ukraine. I'd say fuck you, Lyshenko. The delegations from Ukraine and Russia over the situation in Ukraine will be represented by the same members as during the first round. Russian state news agency. What is there to negotiate? Russians, get your fucking troops out of our country, and then we'll talk about peace. Anyway, that's just my point. All right, this is the cabinet of Ukraine, and we'll see what they're saying here. We'll try to go back 24 hours. All right, let's see what they got here. talked with the Polish Prime Minister and the European President Charles Michel about the horrific war Russia wages against Ukraine, destroying cities and killing civilians. Appreciate quick, comprehensive assistance and support. Like, how about a no-fly zone of Ukrainian membership into the EU? Even if Ukraine gets a membership in the EU, that's not going to stop the Russian invasion. What Ukraine needs is a no-fly zone and express membership into NATO. Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine has launched an information platform for foreign audiences concerning the war in Ukraine. Oh wow, let's check this one out. It provides verified information about the situation in Ukraine, shares specific ways to support Ukraine, shows the human dimensions of the resistance. Let's see. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the U.S. and Montenegro have joined the list of countries that closed their sky for Russia. There you go. But see, look at this. He's still got all of Asia to fly around and Africa. And there's nothing stopping a Russian flying to Kazakhstan and jumping on an American or European flight and going to Germany. All right, let's see here. Losses of Russian occupying forces in Ukraine, March 2nd. I still doubt that that's personnel killed. They've changed it to personnel killed. 5,840. I find that highly susceptible. But maybe it's true. If that's true, then God help, the poor Russian soldiers being sent to slaughter. 862 vehicles. 211 tanks. That's just incredible amounts of numbers here. Let's just hope that Ukraine is actually putting the correct information and not inflating it. In Ukraine, there is no discrimination on race, skin color, or nationality, including when it comes to crossing the state border by foreign citizens. The first come, first serve approach applies to all nationalities. I have been hearing that some Africans trying to get out of Ukraine are being put at the back of the line, according to the some Africans have been reporting that, but I'm not sure. Let's see. All right, so we'll go back into more news here. Russian invaded Ukraine. Why? All right, let's take a look at this. Yeah, and see, the thing is that Putin's completely wrong on this end, okay? Because what happened, he's saying that, these countries broke away from the Soviet Union and just broke up and destroyed the Soviet Union, and it was all sponsored by the West. It's total bullshit. What happened is, after the coup, the KGB coup, in August of 1991, all the different republics in the Soviet Union got together and decided together, okay, not that one was breaking away and rebelling against the Soviet Union, but they all got together and decided to form their own independent countries after the coup, okay? Even Yeltsin, the head of Russia at the time, endorsed this. Of course, the president of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, didn't endorse it because that would be the end of his job. But all the different republics endorsed breaking away and forming their own countries. Okay? So it wasn't the West that stabbed, Putin's got this Hitler mentality that, the great empire of the Soviet Union was stabbed in the back, just like Hitler thinks that the Jews stabbed Germany in the back. Hitler's got this misplaced revisionist thinking of history. It was a mutual, hey, the different republics got together as brothers and said, hey, we're going to form our own ethnic countries based on the boundaries of the republics that the Soviet Union created. If you remember correctly, Stalin and the Soviet Union created the boundaries of the existing republics, giving Ukraine the Crimea and Luhansk and Donbass. Not Ukraine. Ukraine didn't pull those away from Russia. Okay. That was Stalin and the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. So don't blame Ukraine for what Stalin and the what the Communist Party did. Okay, now there's something I forgot here. I'll go ahead and do it right now. Hold on one second. All right. This is a little brief on Babi Yar. Let me see if I can find something better. No? Okay.
Там что с одной и с другой стороны в траншеях стояли немцы и полицаи, отбирали вещи у людей, которые проходили по этому мосточку, и отправляли бог знает куда. Когда мы шли по приказу немцев, что все евреи должны собраться вот в этом районе, а здесь была узкоколейка. И люди не думали, что они идут на расстрел, а думали, что будут куда-то эвакуировать.
И наша кибитка вернулась домой, на то место, где были убиенные люди. Сколько было нервов, сколько было слез, пока все это добились мы.
It's no mystery to me why Putin purposely bombed Babi Yar. Putin believes the Jews control the world. Putin pushes the concept in the West of the cabal, with the Jews sitting at the top manipulating the world through their banks and their money interests, run all out of Israel. This is what amazes me, why Naftali Bennett would even think twice about supporting Ukraine and angst over losing its support from Russia. Okay? Putin, like Hitler, believed that the Jews caused the war, World War II. Putin is an anti-Semite. Bombing Babi Yar was symbolic. Putin supports neo-Nazis all around the world. All these right-wing groups in the United States that supported Trump, all supported by Putin, and they all support Putin. Okay? It's not a coincidence. Birds of a feather, they all gather together.
Bhagavan has been covering the conflict on the ground for us. So, Darson, thank you so much for joining us. First off, where you are in Kyiv, what are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Hi, glad to be with you. Yes, I'm in the center of Kyiv, and today, basically, the streets are pretty much extremely empty. People are either inside their homes or inside subway stations, where many people have camped out in empty subway cars. At the train station, thousands of people are trying to leave today. Many of them have arrived with their families, children, elderly, trying to get on a train. Most of them appear to be going west towards the city of Lviv and the Polish border. There's people. There's a sense here that the noose is tightening on the city, and many people are, especially after last night's. There was a bombardment last night, and even throughout the day today, there's been explosions around the city. People are getting extremely worried.
Yeah, and that's the question that I have for you, Sudasan, because we saw images of that television tower exploding. We've also seen images of people driving their cars or walking through the streets when there is a bombardment or a missile attack. So are people now hunkering down even more than they already were? Because just, I think 2 days ago, our Charlie D'Agata was in a supermarket, and he said that people were buying supplies. They weren't panic buying, but they were still buying food.
Right. They had lifted the curfew at that point, but then it's amazing how much has changed in really just a day.
Yeah.
Right. Look, there's still people out there trying to stock up. I went to one supermarket today, and there's certainly a handful of people inside, but not the long lines that we saw yesterday and maybe the day before. People are, they have to do what they have to do. Some people are waiting in gas lines trying to fill up their cars. Others are trying to get bread. But it's look. I mean, it's definitely more tense than it was. The feeling is more tense. The city is more tense than it was yesterday and the day before. People are also extremely concerned, with all the reports coming out. There was a report last night from the Russians were going to be bombing a Secret Service building, which is in the heart of the city, actually not too far from the hotel where we're at. And there were other, the mayor himself has said that the city is getting increasingly surrounded by Russian forces. So all these are playing into people's minds and calculations. And that's why you've seen this, a huge rush today to get on trains.
Yeah, I can imagine that a lot of the people that are rushing out now didn't rush out before. They saw the traffic jams. They thought, you know what, it's going to be safe in Kyiv. I'm wondering if you've been able to talk to people about how they feel about the reaction of the rest of the world. There is a lot of support, but I wonder, thoughts and prayers and sort of flying the Ukrainian flag is one thing.
Exactly.
But I'm sure they want concrete support. How are they feeling about the way the world is reacting to this?
No, definitely. I mean, just less than an hour ago, I was at a checkpoint, and one of the civilian members of one of these civilian militias, known as the Territorial Defense Units, saw that I was an American, and the first thing he said was, send a message. We need an air defense system. We need more support from the U.S. So there's definitely a sense here, a hope that the international community, particularly the United States, will get a lot more involved and send much more weaponry to deal with the Russian threat. At the same time, there is a sense of a resilience. The President Zelensky himself has come out and saying, look, we can't depend on anyone else. We can only depend on ourselves to protect our homeland. So people have they've started to join these civilian defense units.
All right, so
others are.
That's enough of that. That gives us a little bit more perspective there. We're going to keep going, and to this site here. All right, so this is not good. This is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website. Apparently, it's been knocked off the air. We'll keep it up and see if it comes back. This is Deutsche Welle. Now, I really like Deutsche Welle news. It's a German English language news, and it's very informative. It gives you just massive amounts of detail, which is very much lacking in U.S. media. U.S. media likes to talk about people and kittens and puppies and things like this. Deutsche Welle really gets down to the facts of what's happening on the ground, things that are really going on. I really like them. If you can go to their website, you can even live stream 24 hours a day. Most of the news now is all about what's happening in Ukraine. Let's see, hold on a second. See, they really get into just bullet point details here. It says, Russia's attacks on Ukraine was described by Joe Biden as premeditated and unprovoked. Duh. Biden said U.S. airspace would be closed to Russian aircraft. Duh. What about Ukrainian airspace closed to Russian aircraft? That would actually benefit Ukraine. Russians are not allowed to leave the country more than $10,000. Russia claims it controls Kherson. I've seen video of Russian tanks in Kherson. German weapons have arrived in Ukraine. That's very helpful. UN General Assembly demands Russia withdraw from Ukraine. Ukraine won't accept a puppet government. All right, we'll keep going here. This is the permanent mission for Ukraine to the United Nations. They're giving pretty good information, although they haven't updated for quite a few days here. I'm sure they're a little busy though. So I'm trying to get perspective from all around. So I'm doing U.S. media. The bad thing about U.S. media, like I said, is it's not as informative or as detailed as other media. So I'm going outside that. This is the Euro Reporter. Looks like they're reporting on Biden's speech last night. BP will exit 20% shareholding of Russian companies. U.S. Army task force arrives in the Balkans. See, people are not even mentioning Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. They're right there, right on the Russian border, very vulnerable to Russian attacks. Let's see. We stand with Ukraine. European Parliament works towards Ukrainian candidacy, but it won't really do much good if there's not a free and independent Ukraine left to join the European Parliament. All right. This is the Twitter site of the Ukrainian security services. They've got some pretty good videos. This was just posted 29 minutes ago. Let's take a look here. Translation. See how Russian fighters are equipped, who call themselves one of the strongest armies in the world. Have you seen the most modern military literature in Russia? We bring to your attention the military equipment of the Russian occupiers who went to capture Kyiv. We recommend watching with sound. So we'll go back. Start it again. Look at that. They've got little highlighters, little compass there. Stopwatch. Oh, that looks like a, Ukrainian-Russian book. Tablet for writing. Apparently they captured this off a Russian soldier. There's a scientific calculator. us a map. You just gotta love the Ukrainians, how they do like kind of a Benny Hill kind of montage of Russian equipment. There's a flashlight, lantern. Green light, red light for night. These are artillery books. You see, that's Russian artillery training manuals. See, even while the Ukrainians are being bombed by these artillery in Russian, they still have their sense of humor. Okay? Very interesting. These are all Russian training manuals for artillery. They got this all from one guy? Wow. Yeah, artillery books. So the Russians were so poorly trained, they had to bring their own training manuals. They probably just got out of Russian artillery school and don't have any experience in the field, so they had to bring this Russian soldier had to bring all his artillery manuals. Like, how are you going to be looking at these damn manuals when they're firing at you? Anyway, there you go. Great stuff. I just love this crap. Alright, we'll keep going. Let's see here. What else do we have? What does this say? Arithmetic calculation somewhere in the field stuck. This is a Chinese abacus. Hopefully they didn't get that off a Russian soldier. Good Lord. Alright, what else we have? This is... So, the Russians are so logistically not prepared that they're running out of gas, and the Ukrainians are towing the Russian tanks. You see? With their tractors. So you literally have farmers capturing Russian tanks. Amazing. There's another one. Oh, okay. People are posting stuff that's funny. Alright, let's see what else we have here. Here's another poor Russian guy that's been captured. Is this video? Nah, just a picture. Yeah, I feel sorry for these Russian guys. Well, kinda. There's another Russian captured. Here's some more Russian equipment. Let's see, what does this say? Here is the broken enemy equipment and the Russian military. These are real results of your messages on the official chatbot. Each of them is checked by SBU officers, and only then the updated information is passed to the armed forces. Glory to Ukraine. Let's win together. So, this is what I would suggest if there's any Ukrainians listening right now. So what's happening is, let's go back to our map here. Hold on one second. So I don't know about the Ukrainian army, but this is the way we were trained. So this is what happens here. Naturally, the Russians are going to be using these roads. You see these roads right here? These roads here? The Russians are going to be using these roads to go around Kyiv and surround it. Okay? That means the spearhead of their forces are going to be coming here, and they're probably going to head for this river point right here. Okay? So what that means is as they spearhead out around Ukraine, and they leave artillery in place and missile vehicles in place to attack, they're going to have more of their infantry and armor moving forward to surround Ukraine, which means they're going to be leaving artillery units along the roads here, rocket trucks and vehicles along the roads here with light defense of just Russian troops. So what you want to do, this is just, pure military logic, is not take on this Russian convoy with the tanks here and here, but you want to, there's plenty of woods here, go through the woods here and seek out these roads, and along these roads are going to be the Russian artillery that's hounding and harassing and hammering Kyiv. And then you bring your TOW missiles, your Javelin missiles, you sneak through the woods at night, and then you just hammer this Russian artillery and destroy them. You also want to look for, these guys are going to need fuel trucks, supply trucks. You want to hit the Russian supply trucks. Obviously, they're going to be going along this road. It's the only road around. So just wait in these woods along this road with your javelin and your RPGs, and just hammer the hell out of the Russian artillery, hammer the hell out of the Russian fuel trucks. Tanks can't move without fuel, and then you solve the situation. Don't take on the tanks head on. You hit them in the rear. Hit them where they're not at. Hit them where they're not attacking, okay? Because the Russians can't cross this lake, okay? There's only one road here, so this is where the Russians are going to be. They're going to be along these roads, these parallel roads beside Kyiv to the east and to the west. And their tanks are going to come here. Look, there's no bridges whatsoever. So they're going to have to stop here. Unless they brought forwarding bridges, and then I would attack them. That's what I would be doing. If you want to stop the artillery being hammered into Kyiv, you send out Javelin Hunter killer teams, okay? Or they can call them Jaeger teams, okay? You send them out with RPGs, just 2 or 3 man teams, maybe 4 or 5 man teams with Javelin missiles and RPGs. Don't go up the roads, don't go in vehicles, sneak through the woods at night and hit them along these roads. You'll wipe out their artillery, wipe out their rocket trucks, wipe out their fuel trucks. That'll be the end of the Russian offensive. If you spend the next 3 or 4 days doing that, you're going to see the Russian artillery is going to stop. Okay? And then the only thing coming in will be the missiles coming in from Russia. But that's what I would do. I would hit around these woods here, parallel to these roads. I would be hitting their supply trucks and hitting their artillery trucks, their artillery and rocket trucks. Makes sense to me. Anyway, that's the end. We're at over 1 hour now. I'm going to stop. We're going to keep continuing, moving on, and seeing what's what. And hang in there. You're going to win. Victory is assured. Slava Ukraini.